So I'd like to introduce you to someone who loved me more than anyone else in the world. This is Tinkerbell. I got Tinkerbell when she was 6 months old, and from the moment that I brought her home, she made it certain that I knew that I was her person. She slept with me every night. Actually, I'm a side sleeper, and she perfectly fit here. She greeted me at the door every morning. She also hated the suitcase. So when she'd see the suitcase, I got that look too. And Tinkerbell brought me toys. Lots of toys. Thankfully, she was an indoor cat, so none of them were alive when she was bringing me gifts. But if you have cats, you know the sound, the "I've got a mouse in my mouth" howl that she would do in the middle of the night, and I would have to do the whole kissy noise thing so that she would drop the toy, jump into bed with me, and then 20 minutes later would do it again. So I would have some nights, literally, some mornings when I'd wake up, and there would be 15 to 20 toys all the way up the steps, all the way down the hallway, and in our bedroom. And Tinkerbell was about 16 years old when she was diagnosed with renal failure. And so the journey began of working with my vet, Dr. Jean Friedman, who showed me not only the ways to give her the subcutaneous fluids 3 times a week, but she gave me that extra time with her. And the interesting thing is something started changing in that I woke up one morning and there was actually a teddy bear at the bottom of the steps, perfectly placed, and that teddy bear is holding a little heart that says, "I love you." And I'm like, oh, that's adorable. So I kept it there. And the next night, this is how we knew who had done that. Tinkerbell really liked carrying toys that were much too big for her, and that teddy bear was one of them. And the next morning I woke up and that teddy bear was right outside my bedroom door, along with one of her favorite toys. And that was the last toy that she ever gave me, because that morning is when I came home and I found her. Now, this story is not about Tinkerbell, it's about you and the services that you bring to people like me who have beloved animals, pets, everything. Because the thing is that because of what you do, not only did I get those extra 3 months with her, I got those moments, but I also got that last toy. And that actually happened when she passed, was April 19th, 2025, and that toy, that bear, is still outside my bedroom. And so every time I walk by it, I get to say, "Hi, Tink." But when we think about the animals that we serve, they don't have to worry about being seen. They don't have to know that they're not wanted, because they're wanted, and they know that they matter. Do your employees feel the same way? Because here's the thing, you are training talent. The question is, for whom? Because it's not like you're putting together your 5-year strategy and you're saying, "I know, what we're going to do is we're going to develop world-class team members and then donate them to our competition. That's going to be awesome." No. Because your competitors don't need all of your people. They just need your best. Those 1 or 2 really great people who may be feeling overlooked, not paid attention to. And the thing is that you don't know when that person's going to take that lunch appointment with a headhunter or that phone call from a recruiter, or maybe they're just updating their LinkedIn profile at 10:30 at night. Because it's not all of your employees that your competitors want, it's just your best. So we're going to do a quick finger poll, and the finger poll is if your best employee, so first of all, bring that best employee to mind that you have, and if they got that call today from a recruiter, what is the chance that they will leave? Number 1, there is no chance that person is leaving. Number 2, I don't know. 3, neutral. 4, a little nervous. 5, yeah, super nervous. So hold up your fingers now. Where are you in the point? Okay, we got some 4s, we got some 1s, some 2s, some 3s. Okay, so where's my 1s? I saw a couple 1s. Were you a 1?
I am, yes.
Okay, so here, I'm coming to you. So what is it that you're doing when you think about that person, except of course if they're right next to you and you don't want to totally bust them? Oh, he is right next to you. Okay, so what is it that you're doing that you feel to connect with that person so that you're that confident that they wouldn't leave?
I think our communication is really strong. We talk often, we collaborate, and I just try to be supportive of her direction.
And does she sometimes tell you that you don't want to hear?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, so again, giving the flexibility, knowing that you're listened to and supported, and even if she would do things differently than you would do them, still creating that safe space to share ideas. So everything that we're going to be talking about today, it's not things that don't make sense. Yeah, duh, I know that. But because we get so busy with everything else we're doing, it's the little reminders. And we're going to be having a couple different opportunities to share with each other, just so you know. Because this way, a lot of times when people are asking for things, and they're like, well, yeah, duh, everybody knows that. They hear that idea from somebody in the room instead of some speaker on a stage. It's, oh, yes, I can do that. And when we think about the cost of losing that employee, if you're looking at an average employee, maybe 50 to 75% of their salary to replace them, but you get into upper leadership, that could be more like 400%. But the things that we underestimate is not only the full amount of money that's in there, but the productivity that goes down, because those customers that we had that may not know that new person coming in, or they may be sad that the other person left, and also the time that it takes. And when we think about the number of people retiring from every industry, we're just watching that information go out the door. So we also want to look for ways that we can start capturing that. So if one of your key people leaves, think about what breaks first. Is it your client relationships, account continuity, decision speed, team alignment? Or is it the tribal knowledge that no one's documented? How are we capturing that? I speak at a lot of conferences, and with some of the industries that I work with, they have more people retiring from those industries than coming into it. And you're asking that person who's been with you for 10, 20, 30 years, well, how do you do that? I don't know, I just do it. So how are we starting to capture that with these new generations coming in so we can get them up to speed, taking advantage of the legacy employees that we have? Not that we're trying to replace you, but that you've been here for 20 years, we want your legacy to continue for the next 20 years. Putting it that way, having those relationships go together. Because vacancies are visible, but capability loss is not. And when you're thinking about employees, they're not necessarily leaving just for money. Now, money's a big thing, we all know that. I also think that it's the great lie, because it's the easiest for me to say, I'm quitting my job because I'm making more money. Yeah, you're making 25 cents more an hour, okay? What we want to do is realize that if it was only about the money, if they weren't happy to begin with, they wouldn't have been looking and open to that. They may not be leaving because of the hours or the benefits. They're leaving because they feel invisible. And they're asking themselves the question, do I matter here? So when we look at systems, and in every part of your business, you trust systems. You have systems that manage relationships, monitor performance, catch problems early. Why would your people systems be any different? Retention works the same way. So in our time together, we're going to realize that retention is just not a feeling, it's a system. We're going to go through my 6 gears of gratitude, starting with attitude. How's yours? Because expectations of employees coming in are different than they used to be. Appreciation. This is the personal practice of finding the good, no matter what is going on in your life. Access to you as leaders, also access to the tools and resources that employees need. We'll go into applause. This is the tangible recognition for a job well done, The acts of service is more behind the why do you do what you do. And then we're going to finish it off with accountability, so that we know that when we're walking out of here, we can have at least one thing that we can put into practice when we go back to the office on Monday. Because when the gears are working in conjunction with each other, oops, you need to see my cool graphic here. Ah, there it goes. Everything runs smoothly. All right, so first of all, it's attitude. There used to be this feeling that, you know what, if you want to work for me, you have to change to work for my company. That is not working anymore. You have people with different expectations that see the world differently. How can we change our organization to bring the people that we need in? So I remember this beautiful, perfect day when it comes to attitude in my hometown, Cleveland, Ohio. And it was July of 2020. Now I know that's been 6 years already. Holy guacamole. But we were at the very beginning of the pandemic. My speaking business had gone from thriving to barely surviving, and my husband had been on furlough since March. And on this one particular day, we are relaxing in our luxurious, amazing, comfy, 14-foot blow-up pool. It was actually the last one that Big Lots had in the state of Ohio, so we were very lucky. My husband, Scott, was working on his tan and his beard that he had actually vowed not to shave until the end of the pandemic. Now, generally, I like Scott about Chuck Norris. Rest in peace, Chuck. When he started getting to Grizzly Adams, I'm like, dude, that is not a good look for you. And he did shave it, because if he had waited till the end of the pandemic, he would have been at ZZ Top. So this particular day, we're going back and forth because we were a little bit afraid. We're a lot afraid. Scott was at the company, had been there for 13 years. He made good money. He had the benefits. He enjoyed the people that he worked with. The problem was, it was a soul-sucking culture from a leadership standpoint. But did I mention we needed the benefits? So this game of emotional ping pong, go back to work, yay, we have benefits. Stay, find a different job. The point being is that even with all of this going on behind us, in front of us, having no idea what was coming, we still could change our attitude. Because we couldn't control the situation, but we could control how we showed up. And that's every single day. We have the opportunity, no matter our role in the organization, we can make someone's day a little bit better, or we can make it a little bit worse. It's interaction by interaction. It's moment by moment. It's not, oh, I'm just having a bad day, they have to deal with it. No, because we can say something or do something that damages that relationship for the rest of the time that we work together. It's our attitude. It's the one thing that we control. And one of the best ways to get to a better attitude is through a practice of appreciation. Because what we focus on really does expand. Now, you notice that my company is Grategy, which is a combination of gratitude and strategy mixed together, the only word I own. But this was, I discovered in 2009 when I went on a fire walk. Any fire walkers in the room? Every once in a while, one person will raise their hand. This is not a euphemism. This is a walk across a 12-foot bed of red-hot burning embers. No, I did not get burned, and no, I have no idea why I didn't get burned. Because this actually wasn't my first fire walk. I did my first one in 1989. When I was 6, just in case you're doing the math. Thank you for laughing. I actually shared that with one of my clients. I shared that at a program, and the client came up to me and she said, I can't believe you walked on fire when you were 6. I was like, I can't believe you thought I was born in 1983. That's awesome. But when you walk on fire, the first time it was powerful. I can do anything. But the second one was transformational. Because as we're driving home, we're jacked up, we're excited. You might actually say we were fired up. My jokes do not get any better. We also knew that unless we took action, everything that we had gone through those last couple days would go right out the window. We didn't want that to happen again, so we started sharing with each other people we met, things we learned, experiences that we had, and my friend Mike said, why don't we write down 3 things we're grateful for? And it was that practice that changed everything. I noticed the difference in my business. I was in medical sales at the time. And customers that I hadn't talked to for months were calling me, hey, can you come in and sell me some stuff? I'll be right there. 2 large facilities I'd been calling on for almost 5 years that closed effortlessly. I noticed the difference from my husband, who was becoming more verbally appreciative. So everything that was happening was changed because of that gratitude practice. And that's where the research began. And I've read hundreds, if not thousands, of articles and white papers and attended programs to see if gratitude was more than this feel-good emotion. And there's lots of research out there. Greater Good Science Center out at Berkeley is probably one of the best, but HeartMath is another one, also in California. But HeartMath looks at the research behind our emotions and how it impacts us physically. The other thing is, though, when it comes to gratitude, and I have a whole program on that, but some mornings we wake up and we're like, we just can't get there for whatever reason. We're having a bad day, whatever it is. So this is a practice I like to call what's not wrong. So it looks like this. Jeff, I'm going to come over to you. Jeff, tell me one thing that's not wrong today.
It's sunny out. It's not raining.
Okay, it's not raining. It's sunny out. Okay, one more thing.
My hair looks great.
His hair looks great. Let's give it up for Jeff's hair. Okay. Now, the thing is that Jeff demonstrated that beautifully, because if I would have said, Nick, give me 3 things you're grateful for, you would have come right off like this. But when I phrase it of what's not wrong, did your brain do a little bit of a backflip? I could actually see it backflipping. So you guys now have the opportunity to turn to your neighbor and back and forth one time to say what's not wrong and experience it for yourself. So go ahead, I'll put my hand up, and when you see my hand, you're going to stop talking and come back. What's not wrong? Talk to each other. Okay, let's come back. Come on back. So you have 2 tools right there for yourself. You can start with the question of what am I grateful for, and then in the worst case scenario of at least what's not wrong. Both of them work beautifully, but this is what changes the wiring in your brain. Frankly, without this practice, I'm not sure how I would have gotten through the pandemic, because we look at finding the good within that. Your brain starts to immediately say, what can I find that's good? Now, it's not that you have to be pretending everything's, happy, joy all the time. But what we can do is we can feel the depth of whatever that anger, that sadness, depression, whatever it is. We can feel that, but then when we start to get out of the rawness of that we can find one good thing that we're grateful for, which leads us to access. So access is not only to you, which is an expectation in leadership, but also, again, the tools and resources people need. So I remember in my career, I was 23 years old. I was working for a company called Premier Industries in Cleveland, Ohio. It was started by Mort Mandel out of the trunk of his car selling fasteners in the 1940s. So we had our company picnic, hot dogs and potato salad in the parking lot, and Mort was there. And I went up to Mort, I'm like, Mr. Mandel, it's such a pleasure to meet you. I'm so honored to work for your company. I don't know, I was blathering on like a 23-year-old fangirl would. And Mr. Mandel was very nice. We had a great conversation. But by the time I got back to the office was a Twitter. And it was way before Twitter. Because the people in my office were saying, Why did you talk to Mort? What did you say to him? What did he say to you? Because if you remember back in those days, what I should have done is I should have asked my boss, who asked her boss, who asked his boss, who asked their boss, is it okay if Lisa talks to Mort? That doesn't work anymore. We have to understand that our employees want access to us. Because think about it. You have that brand new employee. They've never been in animal health their whole life. They have no idea what they're doing. They walk into, what is your name? Casey. They walk into Casey's office, uninvited. Sit down. Casey, I know I've only been here for 3 days, but I see some things. And I'd like to share them with you. Now, I know that this isn't Casey, but another manager would be, his eyes may be rolling back in his head going, oh, what do you know? We've been doing it this way for 20 years. But what if they're right? What if they see something different that they're bringing to you as a gift and we're just open to it? Is it going to be that they're going to know everything all the time? No. But maybe there's a seed that's planted. It's that access to you. So going even further back in my career, my very first job out of high school, I was a data entry clerk for an executive search firm. So this is actually the AI-generated version of me at 19 years old. And you might be saying, first job out of high school, didn't you go to college? No, I didn't go to college. Neither of my parents went to college. I did not know a single person in high school that was going to college, okay? It wasn't even on my radar. And I, at 19 years old, had already made it because I had the 3 things that all successful people have. I had a business card. Yeah. Now, my boss wanted to know why I needed a business card, and I assured her it was because when I go to lunch and there's a fishbowl there, I want to be able to put my fishbowl my card in the fishbowl and win a free lunch. And got me the cards. I had a title. I was not a data entry clerk. I was senior information specialist. And I had an office with a door. So I had truly made it. And one day I'm working in my office and Ann walked up to me and she said, would you like to take a Dale Carnegie class? And I looked up and I said, Dale who? And if you're wondering Dale who, Dale Carnegie wrote one of the most important business books and personal development books ever written called How to Win Friends and Influence People in 1937. And Ann was inviting me to take the Dale Carnegie class. Now, she could have offered it to any of the employees. The only reason it was open is a VP couldn't go, but she offered it to me. And that invitation changed everything. I started thinking that, you know what, I should go back. I developed a love of learning. I said, I should go back to college, or I should go to college. So for the next 14 years, on Tuesday and Thursday nights from 6 to 8 and 8 to 10, I went to college. If you're asking, why didn't she go on Wednesday nights? Dynasty was on Wednesday nights, people. I had my priorities. But it's led to everything that I'm doing today. One invitation. So when you think about the people who work with you, again, no matter their role in the organization, who on your team is one invitation away to showing you what they're really capable of offering those invitations, of somebody who has a spark. Because we're all busy, we all have full plates. But if you have somebody that wants to do extended training, that is interested in learning more, make those offers to them. Give them those opportunities. Again, it sounds like something that, yeah, duh. But that's what keeps people. Because sometimes people say, Lisa, if I invest all that money in training, people are going to take all that training and leave anyway. What happens if you don't train them and they stay? So I'm going to give you, let's see how we're doing on time here. Okay, I'm going to give you about maybe 2 minutes of just at your tables, what are some of the ways that you are investing in your people? Not only from a skills development, but also a personal development. So basically, we can help those people to be better tomorrow than they are today. And this is what I told you before, that if you have a yeah, duh, of course, everybody knows. No, that may be the one thing. And then we'll capture one or two of those ideas. So again, you're seeing what your colleagues are doing as far as investing in their employees. So go ahead, talk to each other and see what we can come up with.
Have a damn good food. So I thought that was funny.
I'm just eavesdropping
Why are you doing that?
because you look like you're a troublemaker, Jeff, and I'm coming over to make sure you're behaving yourself.
Talk to the
You read people very well.
perceptive of it.
How did I know?
They're still helping them get to grow. And so after we do a supplier meeting, we do a team meeting. So we do a lot of figuring out like what work we're doing.
I'm just walking around eavesdropping.
Executive search firm did you work for?
I started with Office Mates 5, which was a division of management recruiters. Oh, the one where I was in the data entry called Christian and Timbers.
I know Jeff Christian.
Do you really?
I know Jeff Christian, and I started at Management Recruiters International.
Oh my God, yeah, because Terry Wesley was the guy that I worked for. He was a management recruiters in Euclid.
So that's where Jeff Christian started, was at MRI, and he wasn't there that long before he started Christian and Timbers. He did a training cohort in 2020 for a year, and there were like 30 of us. He started a new search firm, and he was doing a cohort to produce some training videos in 2020, and I was one of 30 people that were part of his cohort.
That's so funny. Yeah, because I worked with Jeff Christian and Dick Timbers at the very beginning.
He wrote a book.
Did he? You know what? He fell off. It's so funny. We'll have to talk afterwards. That's so. What a small world it is. Okay, let's come back. All right, so who either heard or shared a really good idea when it comes to investing in your employees? This is your opportunity to point at somebody else and make them talk. So who heard something, shared something, can volunteer, voluntold? I know there were some really good ideas in this room. Nobody's talking to me. Okay, then I get to choose. You know what? You were sharing something. So who are you and what were you sharing about your investing in employees?
Hi, I'm Laura, and so we have a couple of newer folks enrolled on my team, and so we do a lot around. Everyone in this room does meetings, right? Whether it's a supplier or whoever with an external company. And how many meetings do you sit through and you're like, why did we meet? And what was the purpose and what's the outcome? And so we do a lot of immediate debriefs to say what worked, what didn't work, what did you hear? Like also, did you notice when they shifted in their seat? Or did you notice to just help them work through the meeting and making sure we have an outcome and a next step?
Okay, awesome. So making meetings less painful. That's awesome. All right, anybody else? One more? Isn't it funny when people are like, don't look at me. Don't look. You're doing the don't look at me, dude.
I just don't have any employees right now, so I have no good ideas.
Okay. So did you have a conversation at this table about that?
So one of the things that we started to do is put an agenda on every meeting so that we are able to accomplish more and teach those that are coming up through the industry how to get from A to Z to make sure that everything is productive and teaching those that maybe haven't had that opportunity in the commercial side of the business
Yeah,
to be able to see the end game.
that's awesome. Let's give it up as well. See, these are little things, but when people know what's expected on the agenda, that this is what we're going to cover, and we're not going to be going down a whole lot of rabbit holes and wasting your time. Actually, did anybody see that article that made it out this week about the guy who got fired because for the last, 5 years, he had basically done a video recording of himself on a loop where he was smiling and looking engaged. And for every meeting, it was over 1,000 meetings, he sent that to his avatar was there. They finally busted him. It took him 4 years or 5 years. Yeah, it just came out this week. I thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. Okay. All right, so let's move on to applause because this is the tangible recognition for a job well done. Marshall Lasada did a study where he took a look at teams and how they communicated with each other. And I know that you cannot speak to a group in healthcare without a slide without way too much information on it, so here's yours. The Lasada ratio basically found on high-performing teams there's a 6-to-1 positivity ratio, which means for every one negative thing that the people on that team would hear, they'd hear 6 positives. And it wasn't all, oh, yay, everything you do is so good. That's a good start to an idea. Let's see how we can build on it. At about 2-to-1, this is where your quiet quitters hang out, okay? They're at neutral. They're doing exactly enough work so that they don't get fired. You're paying them about exactly enough so they don't quit. But below that Lasada line, that's where you have your low-performing teams. So we look at, here's the thing, managers will raise their people the way that they were raised. So if you have managers who have never been thanked or appreciated or applauded, they're going to do the exact same thing to their people. So we need to figure out how we can recognize people knowing that some of our employees are going to be easier to recognize than others. We also know that we're going to have employees who are going to jack us, okay? No matter what we do, they're going to work the system, they're going to figure it out, how to take advantage of that. But a lot of times what we're doing is we're treating the 95 to 98% of our good, honest, hardworking employees like the 2 to 5% who are going to take advantage of us. When we focus our energy on catching people in the act of doing things well, we start to bring it around. I remember I had a guy come up to me after one of my programs and he said, Lisa, when I do something wrong, I get recognized 100% of the time. And when I do something well, it rarely gets noticed. So we want to start to catch people in the act of doing things well, of giving out those gold stars that felt so good when we were in kindergarten. And at some point in the rest of the day, look for opportunities to give other people gold stars. Finding people who are making a difference in this industry and telling them specifically what it is that they're doing well. Because a lot of you have worked together for a lot of years and you've known each other through UVSA for a long time. So have those conversations. So this is my little shout out episode here that you know them, you work beside them, you might be one of them. I'm going to go through a list of people who potentially, hopefully, are all in the room, and your response is going to be, you rock. Let's practice that. You rock. Okay, so here we go. Distributors, you keep everything moving. You make sure the right products go to the right place at the right time, so care never has to wait. You rock. Manufacturers, you create the products that make modern veterinary care possible. Your work is behind every solution that helps animals live healthier lives. You rock. Sales and commercial teams, you translate performance into trust. You're the ones who hear what customers really need and make sure the industry delivers. You rock. Operations and supply chain, you bring order to complexity. You keep systems running, problem solved, and everything flowing, even when pressure is high. You rock. Customer service and support teams, you're the voice people rely on. You bring clarity, patience, and solutions in the moment where it matters most.
You rock.
Couple more. Marketing and product teams, you turn ideas into impact. You help people understand what's possible and connect them to the tools that make it happen.
You rock.
And leadership and executives, you set the direction and carry the responsibility. You make decisions that shape just not business outcomes, but people's daily experience at work.
You rock.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to have this side of the room stand up. Stand up. Don't worry, you're not going to be rubbing anybody's shoulders, I promise you. Okay, I want you to turn and look at the people on this side of the room. Just look at them. Stare them down. Can you believe you were in the same room with these amazing rock stars? So what we're going to do is you are going to give them the loudest standing ovation you have ever given anybody, and then I'm going to count it down 3, 2, 1, and you will tell them you rock. So go ahead, standing ovation. This is for you. Feel it, people. Feel it. Three, 2, 1. Now, this is not a competition, people, which immediately turns it into a competition, I know. So I want you to stare at the people on this side of the room. Holy cow, can you believe you are in the same room with these amazing industry rock stars? I want you to give them the loudest standing ovation you've ever given anybody, and then I will count it down as well. Go ahead. Feel it. Come on, bring it in, people. Enjoy this. This is for you. It's for you. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Now, it felt good to receive that appreciation, right? And it probably felt even better to give it. And that's what we're looking for. I know that when you go to your office on Monday, people are probably, maybe they will give you a standing ovation. Sorry, I heard a maybe not. But it's these little things that we're doing to connect with people every day and connecting with each other. Because for everyone in the room, even though those roles look different, you're all part of the same story. You make it possible for animals to be cared for and the people doing it, that care to keep going. And from me to you, you rock. And which leads us into our acts of service. This is the question of why do I do what I do? Why did I choose animal health instead of human health? I learned a lot of that last night. Animal health is a lot better. But when we look at the fact of why we do what we do, and I'd love for you to either write this down or take a picture of the slide to remind yourself, because of the work we do, someone somewhere can. So don't think about what it is you do. Think about what becomes possible of what you do. It's the conversations that you're having here with each other. Why do I do this? What keeps me in this industry? And when we're bringing in new people, it's not the money, here's your money, here's your salary, here's your hours, here's your benefits. No, this is why I do here. This is what keeps me here, because that's the buy-in that we're looking for. Just a couple examples. Because of what you do, someone somewhere can get the treatment their animal needs without delay. They can walk out of a clinic with hope instead of heartbreak, and they can have more time with the animals they love. These are the things, the conversations, and inviting people, inviting your staff members to attend events like this for UVSA. Because think about it. Not only is it good for them to network and see the excitement of the industry, but it's also great for the bar on Friday night. Because you bring a brand new employee to this event, for example, in Savannah, Georgia, and they're going to go to the bar Friday night when they get home. And their friends are going to be like, hey, how was your week? They're going to be like, oh, it was awesome. went to this conference, we were in Savannah, I got to meet all these people in the industry, I made some good connections. I never got to go work for a company that allowed me to do that. How do I work for a company like that? So it becomes a recruiting tool. So before we go on to accountability, I do have a gift for you. This is a copy of, if you click on the QR code, now this does not take the place of the feedback form, the feedback survey you will be getting from UVSA. It will give you a copy of the PDF download of my book, Thank You Very Much, which is Gratitude Strategies to Create a Workplace Culture That Rocks. It's not designed to be read cover to cover. But there's chapters in there like no employee ever quit because of too much training. Okay, that's one of the chapters. But my favorite is probably the chapter starts on page 85. It's on the stay interview. So we're all familiar with exit interviews, right? They denote patterns. Exit interviews are cool. But I think they're also a little late because it's like, hey, why are you leaving? And they're out. Stay interviews. What keeps you here? What's your best part of the day? What would you change if you were me? Why would you leave? Scary question. But if I ask one of my employees, why would you leave? And that employee says, I'm taking these classes down at the community college, and if I were to find a job that could help me use those skills, yeah, I'd probably leave. Now I know. But sitting down, in this chapter, I talk about Manny DeSantis. Manny is a CEO of 3 fastener plants, okay? So Manny's a busy guy. And he had heard about these stay interviews, and he said, that sounds like a good idea. So he interviewed all of his staff at all 3 plants. Now, the first round, the staff was like, why is the CEO talking to me? And they told him exactly what they thought Manny wanted to hear, but Manny acted on it. The second round, they were a little bit more open, and by the third round, they were an open book. Now, Fastener Institute had me before the pandemic where I had this conversation with Manny, and then after the pandemic, I came back, and I talked to Manny, and he said they did not lose a single person due to voluntary turnover during the course of the pandemic, and he attributes that to the stay interview. So they're just conversations. And that chapter lists about 50 questions maybe to just over time start to figure out what's working for your employees. So we've gone through all the gears, and now how do we bring that home? Because we want to set standards. People want to know that we are catching them in the act of doing things well, that we're open to their ideas. And so we're looking at the fact that your culture didn't happen overnight. It's not going to change overnight. There's no easy button. But maybe in yours, you might be saying, I really need to work on my attitude because people really are coming in with new technologies and new ideas. Maybe that's what I need to work on. Or you're saying that gratitude practice, that actually sounds really good. Maybe I'll just start with that. And keeping a notebook on your bedside table, not a journal with dates in it, because dates will mess you up. Right? We get really good for about 3 weeks. We're writing everything down. Then we get busy. Then we forget. And when we remember, we either have to go back and fill in all those blanks, because goodness knows we can't have empty dates, or we just say, I failed. No. If you have a notebook without dates in it, then you just forgive yourself, move on. But it's an amazing practice. Access. I really want to spend more time getting to know my people and also exploring some of the different options that are out there for training and helping them to be better tomorrow than they are today. Maybe the applause. And with the applause, maybe that starts with the apology approach. I have not been letting you know how much I appreciate you. I'm going to do a better job at that. Because now they know, that employee knows that it's not just something that I'm going to try for a day and give up on. I'm taking accountability for that. And then the acts of service, the heart of what you do here, and sharing those stories instead of, again, here's your compensation, here's your benefits. And then accountability. What is that one thing, maybe in each category, that you're going to do? Because when we look at it, You want your experienced people to feel respected. You want people to know that they're being heard. But if we look at culture as part of the infrastructure, every bit as much as accounting and financing and human resources and all of that, that we're just looking at culture as part of that. This is what we do, this is who we are. Because people stay because they matter. So we started the day with Tinkerbell and all of her toys and the unfortunate passing of her. And the hole in my heart was so big after that loss that I actually went to 4 different pounds over 4 different days to find the cat that was going to choose me. And so finally, I go back to the Cleveland APL, and people were talking about this gray kitten. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna go see what all the fuss is about. And I started petting this little guy, and he purred so loudly, his whole body shook. And I'm like, I will take him and his sister. And so when I was driving home, I was talking to my husband, and he could hear the kittens in the car, and he said, what did you do? And I said, we have kittens. And he got a little upset, and I just said, honey, if I were to tell you that I was bringing home 2 kittens, you would have said no, and I was going to do it anyway. So I decided to just skip that step. So I decided to go for the win and let him name them. Very first, he comes out there, Bonnie and Clyde. You are not naming my children after criminals. So we went through all the Disney characters, all the Pixar characters, all the Roman gods, all the Greek gods. The next morning, they're Bonnie and Clyde. When we look at the love that animals bring to us and the work that you do to keep those animals safe and healthy and work with those fur moms and dads that are making it all happen, that matters. Because at the end of the day, people don't stay for what you say your culture is. They stay for what it feels like to work there. They stay where they know they matter. And that feeling is decided every single day. I'm Lisa Ryan, and I appreciate you. Thank you.